Adriana Smith did not give birth today because she is dead. A dead person cannot give birth. They cut that baby from her corpse. That's what happened. Now, I'm gonna sound so fucking cruel when I say this, but I really hope that baby does not make it. Because imagine what will happen if our government realizes that they don't need a live woman to have a healthy baby. Mind you, she was only 8 weeks pregnant when she died. She wasn't even done with the first trimester. Do you guys understand just how quickly the human body starts to decompose? Do you know how much effort it takes to keep the body from breaking down? And they kept her like that for 4 fucking months. Human body starts to decompose after days of being dead, and they kept her alive for 4 fucking months just so she can be a human incubator like a fucking animal. I don't think you guys understand. We're literally seeing the beginning of the normalization of necromancy. Legalized necromancy, medical necromancy. Living in a world where the government can legally keep your corpse alive to keep you from decomposing, also you can have a baby. And that doesn't sound like eugenics at all.
Wow. Wow. This is really, really hard, right? It's strong. Now, this is the story of Adriana Smith, a 31-year-old nurse that lives in Atlanta that passed last month. It was said that Adriana was pregnant. She was 2 months pregnant when she walked into a hospital and complained of excruciating headache. And then she was placed on medication. And then on Sunday or thereabouts, she was confirmed brain dead. And then America or the city of Georgia decided they are not gonna take off the machines from her until the baby is born. Because as at when she was brain dead, it was confirmed that her baby had fetal heartbeats. Like it means that the child was alive at 2 months. So now let's watch what people were saying about her, and then I'll come back with the commentaries. You guys, this is strong.
Adriana Smith had her autopsy this week. So sorry, they're calling it a C-section. They're calling it a C-section when they kept a woman who was brain dead for 114 days on a ventilator in an ICU. You know, she was a nurse. She was a 31-year-old nurse. I'll be 31 next week. I'm a nurse and a doctor. And that could have been me. That could have been me against my will, against my family's wishes, watching a 100% brain dead daughter whom they loved while taking care of her 7-year-old daughter in an ICU, fighting with the hospital and the state and the country with no options. That could have been me. That could have been you. I hope that you share every video that mentions Adriana Smith's name. I hope that you comment her name on everything that you can. I hope that her name goes into textbooks and becomes synonymous with how we do not treat women in this country, how we do not treat humans, how we do not take autonomy and justice for granted as doctors. This isn't okay. This was never okay. And it got overshadowed by all the other crazy things going on in this country. But her world ended in February. February. Do you remember Valentine's Day? Because I don't. That's how long ago it was. That is how long they have kept this woman who was not alive, tied to machines and IVs and beeping. And I can just not imagine the suffering that her family had to watch.
I need you to watch this video. I believe that Adriana Smith, the black woman that is brain dead and being forced to have a child in Georgia, is setting the groundwork for a concept known as whole body gestational donation. Concept where people that are brain dead but otherwise good physical health are used as incubators to make children. It sounds far-fetched, but it's not. It's something that's been talked about for over 40 years now. It was originally talked about by a bioethicist in the 1980s, and then in 2000 it was brought up again by an Israeli doctor. And recently another doctor brought it up again. And all of this is documented in the National Library of Medicine. The basic premise that's used is that dead people cannot suffer, and therefore they lack rights and autonomy to their own physical bodies. They've also said that women who have previously given their consent could be gestational carriers. And this is a direct quote, making use of an otherwise wasted resource. But it gets worse, because their entire reasoning behind it is 100% in the self-interest of other people. It's mentioned that this could offset the expense of surrogacy. That people that want to be parents but can't, whether due to physical or financial reasons, could have their wishes fulfilled. Even though this is something that's been discussed for 40 years now, it does seem like there are more doctors that are against this than there are for it. Doctors have written rebuttals about the pain and exploitation that can come from assessing someone's autonomy during brain death.
They cut a baby out of a dead body because the corpse was rotting. They pumped a rotting corpse full of chemical preservatives for 4 or 5 months just to gestate and incubate a fetus. And then they cut it out of the corpse because it was rotting. We're officially past the women's rights discussion because they're toying with the notion that women don't need rights because women don't even need to be alive to fulfill their purpose. This is human experimentation with a goal to prove a hypothesis that supports their desires. America has a long history of experimenting with forced birth and things of that nature, with black women specifically. So doing this to Adriana Smith is, in their eyes, a surefire way to ensure nobody will really care. It's no longer a conversation about abortion, although it is, but I mean it goes deeper now. There is no appealing to prove to them women deserve rights. They don't intend for us to have rights, personhood, or heartbeats. Just functional wombs, in the most literal sense possible.
Hey everyone, we have a critical update on the Adriana Smith case. So as a reminder, Adriana, a nurse from Georgia, was declared brain dead in February while 8 weeks pregnant. On June 13th, her son named Chance was born via emergency C-section. He weighed just over 1 pound and is now in the NICU. Her family is preparing to say goodbye to Adriana this week. But here's the ethical crisis. Her family says that they were told the hospital had to keep Adriana on life support due to Georgia's abortion law, House Bill 481. That's false. The law does not require life support after brain death. Even the Georgia Attorney General clarified that removing life support is not considered abortion. Still, the hospital kept her on machines for 4 months. Her family had no legal say, no chance to advocate for her values or wishes. That's a fundamental violation of informed consent and medical ethics. And here's something that hasn't been talked about enough, right? The medications used to preserve Adriana's body likely harmed the fetus. Vasopressors, corticosteroids, sedation, and hormonal support can cause placenta insufficiency, impaired growth, brain bleeds, or long-term neurodevelopmental issues, especially in extreme prematurity. This baby was fighting before he was even born. This wasn't just about keeping Adriana's body alive. It was about forcing her body to become a vessel for a potential life without her consent and at a great risk to that very life. A 7-year-old boy now has to grow up without his mother. Her newborn son may face lifelong complications, and her mother is left saying, quote, "We should have had a choice," end quote. This case is what happens when vague, overly broad laws are weaponized against families, especially Black women. We have to do better legally, ethically, and medically.
No, I'm not over this. They really waited until today, June 17th, her birthday, to take her off life support? Like, that's not the most twisted, backhanded, cold-blooded kind of closure I've ever heard. You mean to tell me this woman's body was literally used? And the one day that should have been about remembering who she was? Celebrating her life before all this? That's the day y'all chose to pull the plug? Not the day before, not the day after. Her birthday. That's not a decision, that's a performance. They turned her body into a battleground, dragged her family through 4 months of hell, made her mother fight just to say goodbye with dignity, and then had the nerve to let her go on the day that she came into this world. I don't want to hear another word about morality, like not a single one. Because what do you even say to a family that went through this? Happy birthday, here's your daughter's death certificate. What the fuck? You really think that baby's life is going to be built on peace when this is how it all started? It's not just cruel, it's not just violent. It's intentional. Every single part of this, from the forced life support, to the timeline, to the cold way they finally allowed her to rest, it was all about control. How's the family supposed to stay calm? How are they supposed to feel? We can't be calm. We can't be collected. Because on behalf of that family, we damn sure are not neutral. Because if that was my daughter, my sister, my best friend, I wouldn't be talking. I would be screaming. I would be fighting. So no, this isn't just about laws. It's about humanity. They stripped her of it, right down to her very last breath, on her birthday. On her fucking birthday.
Adriana Smith's mother has told us how she feels about what they did to her daughter. She doesn't want us to let it go. She doesn't want us to never talk about it again. Y'all don't read articles. You don't read the actual articles, so you don't know what she said, but here's what she has said. I'm not saying we would have chosen to terminate her pregnancy, but I'm saying we should have had a choice, she said in previous interview. She maintained that sentiment on Monday after sharing her grandson was born. I think all women should have the choice about their body, and I think I want people to know that. That sentence, I think I want people to know that this woman is not going to be able to spend the rest of her life being a rah-rah activist against what they did to her daughter, because she is now raising the baby that was a result of this experiment. But she said, I think women should have a choice, and I want people to know that. And if you would read the articles, if you would read the journalism in this case, you would know that she said that. But y'all don't read the journalism. You just listen to the talking heads. You watch the TikToks. She said, I want people to know that. It is not disrespect. It is not disrespectful to her grandson. It's not disrespectful to her daughter, to Adriana Smith, to talk about what they have done to her, to talk about the choices they took away from her and this family, to talk about the fact that she shouldn't be fucking dead. She shouldn't be fucking dead. She should have gotten immediate medical attention when she went to the hospital and said she's having headaches that are so severe she went to the fucking hospital. There is no justice in letting this lie. There is no justice in letting this go. Just like there is no justice in not talking about all the ways they have experimented and exploited Black women and Black women's reproductive health for the last 500 years in this country. There is no justice in just letting it go and they make their peace with it. No. She said, I want people to fucking know that they should have had a choice.
I don't know why I feel like I have to talk about this, but do you remember in 1990 when Terri Schiavo had a cardiac arrest? She was 26 years old. She never regained consciousness. The doctors deemed her to be in a persistent vegetative state, and for 15 years she was kept on life support while the husband and parents battled out over who gets to make the next decision. The courts got involved because Jeb Bush tried to pass the Terry's law. The court said, can't do that. That's unconstitutional. Congress put their little meddling fingers in it. George Walker Bush got his little meddling fingers in it. This was before he got hit by a shoe. And in 2005, the husband was finally able to remove her from life support, where she passed away peacefully 13 days later. An autopsy determined that her brain had atrophied to half its weight. She would have never recovered. It was the largest end-of-life case in U.S. history. And here we are 20 years later, and we're in a hauntingly, heartbreakingly familiar situation with Adriana Smith, the 30-year-old nurse in Georgia. When are the people who are against big government overreach going to step up and say, yeah, this is too much? I'm just curious. I don't know. Just felt like I wanted to talk about that for a second. Be good to yourself. Be kind to those who deserve it.
Welcome back. So it's pathetic, it's painful, and it's all shade of bad, right? According to Americans and all of that, because of the whole abortion law in America. So, I felt they really, really felt bad about it. But let me be honest with you. If I was Adriana, I'm not in that position, but now I am citing an example myself. If I'm Adriana and anything happened to me in that particular condition in 2 months, if my child can be alive, I would want me to be kept so that my child will be alive. Now, this is not to say that your views are wrong. No, I'm not saying it's wrong, but that is what me feel, right? We've had situations whereby people here in Nigeria were pregnant and, before they could give birth, they passed and they noticed that there's still fertile heartbeat and they decide to take out that child instantly. But now, I think Adriana's own cuts a little, if not a little deep, it cuts very painful because she was just 2 months. Ordinarily, she should have been allowed to go and rest with her child, right? That is what you guys wanted. Yeah, that is why, according to them, the family are not happy. They felt she was tortured. They felt this is really, really injustice to the Black community and all of that. And even her mother came out to speak about it, right? Looking at the fact that Adriana had a son prior to that time, right? Now, Adriana's child was operated few hours after her body started decomposing and the child was brought out and they took the child to NICU. Now, doctors are saying so many things that it's possible that that child might grow up with a whole lot of, medical conditions that will emanate from the kind of medications she has been on before they later took her off, the machines and all of that. But one thing I believe is, what if that baby is perfect? Have you ever thought of it? What if the baby comes out perfect and there's no problem? Would you still be angry that that baby was saved? Is a question I'm asking. Would you still be angry that that baby was saved, for that the mommy was kept so that the baby could be saved? Think about it. And another question I want to ask is: do you think Adriana will be very angry? Let's say maybe a dead person has power, or yeah, or a free will. Do you feel, oh, she'll be very angry? You would have given her child to go to go with the child, like to die with the child, right? That's my question. Do you think she won't be happy looking at her child in years to come, probably become one of the best doctors in America, or probably even become the president of America, or probably become a very good soccer player, or become something really good? What do you think? I want to hear your own opinions in the comment section, because for me, I feel, I don't know, because the way people are going about it, right? Family felt bad. I'm so sorry, right? But if I was Adriana, I would want the same. Yeah, I want the same. So many people. I have a friend that went into surgery while she was pregnant. And do you know what she told the doctors? If it becomes 50-50, please save my baby and let me go. Whatever way you save my baby, just save my baby and let me go. I don't know, it might be different for another person. That's why I want to see it in the comments, right? Please kindly share this video, and please make sure you're sharing this video for the sake of Adriana, so that at least people can gain clarity and then, speak their opinions about it. Do not forget to subscribe, like, and to share. It's me, Global Gist with BJ, your girl Blessing. I love you all so much. Bye.